Hello students, I am Dr. Hari Prapan Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Management, GLE University, Mathura. Today we have discussed dividend theory. Dividend theory basically divided into the two parts. One is relevance and second one is irrelevance theory. Relevant theory given by the Walter and Gordon and irrelevant theory given by the Modi, Gilani and Miller. Relevance theory says it affects the value of the firm, means prices of the shares, the total valuation of the firm. That's given by the Walter and Gordon. Irrelevance theory says that does not affect the value of the firm. Uh, now, today we have discussed only relevant theories. Professor James E. Walter, he argues that the choice of dividend policies almost always affect the value of the firm. His model, one of the earlier theoretical works, shows the importance of the relationship between the firm's rate of return, that is R, and its cost of capital, that's represented by K, in determining the dividend policy that will maximize the wealth of shareholders. Uh, Walter model is based on these assumptions. First is the firm finances all investment through the retained earning, that is debt or new equity is not issued. It means firm have only one choice, that is the internal financing. There is no choice of external financing. The firm's rate of return and cost of capital are constant, that is not fluctuated, that is fixed. All earnings are either distributed as dividend, so 100% payout ratio, or reinvested internally immediately, means 100% retention. Beginning earnings and dividend never changes. The value of the earnings per share and the dividend per share may be changed in the model to determine result, but any given values of EPS or DPS, that is the dividend per share, are assumed to remain constant forever in determining a given value. The firm has a very long or infinite life, that is not finished out only 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, that is a long life. Now, Walter formula to determine the market price per share as follows, that is a P equal to dividend plus bracket start R divided by K bracket close, earning per share minus dividend per share bracket close upon K, where P equal to market price per share, dividend equal to dividend price per share, EPS equal to earning per share, and R firm's rate of return, K equal to firm's cost of capital, or we can say capitalization rate. Equation 1 reveals that the market price per share is the sum of the present value of two sources of income, that is I, the present value of the infinite stream of constant dividends, so dividend divided by K, and the present value of the infinite stream of capital gains. When the firm retains a perpetual sum of earning per share minus dividend per share at R rate, its present value will be R bracket start EPS minus dividend upon K. This quantity can be known as capital gain, which occurs when earnings are retained within the firm. If retained earnings occur every year, the present value of infinite number of capital gains will be equal to R EPS minus dividend upon K whole upon K. Thus, the valuation of firm a share is present value of all dividend plus the present value of all capital gains. The formula in this formula. Now, optimum payout ratio. Firm have three options: growth firm, normal firm, and declining firm. Growth firms are those firms which expand rapidly because of ample investment opportunity yielding returns higher than the opportunity cost of capital. These firms are able to reinvestment earnings at a rate which is higher than the rate expected by shareholders. They will maximize the value per share if they follow a policy of retaining all earnings for internal investment. Second is normal firm distribute all earnings. Most of the firms do not have unlimited surplus generating investment opportunity. After exhausting super profitable opportunity, normal firms earn on their investment rate of return equal to the cost of capital. For normal firms with R equal to K, the dividend policy has no effect on the market value per share in Walter's model. Declining firm, internal rate of return less than opportunity cost of capital, do not have any profitable investment opportunity to invest the earning. These firms would earn on their investment rate of return less than the minimum required. R is greater than K, R is less than K by investors. So investors of such firms would like earnings to be distributed to them so that they may either spend it or invest elsewhere to get a rate higher than earned by the declining firms. Uh, the effect of dividend policy on the here is a three cases when R is greater than K, where R is less than K, and R equal to K. So if dividend payout ratio is increases and condition is R is greater than K, then market value of share decreases, and if dividend payout ratio decreases, market value of a share increases. In second, when R is less than K, market value of share increases if payout ratio is increases, dividend payout ratio will be increases, and if dividend payout ratio decreases, market value of share is decreases. Or where R is equal to K, there is no changes. If we talk about the criticism of Walter model, first one is no external financing. Walter's model of share valuation mixes dividend policy with investment policy of the firm. The model assumes that retained earnings finance the investment opportunities of the firm and no external financing, debt or equity is used for the purpose. When such a situation exists, either the firm investment or its dividend policy or both will be suboptimal. That is the condition in case of no external financing. Second one is constant return. Firm's internal rate of return does not always remain constant. In fact, are decreasing as more and more investment is made. Constant opportunity cost of capital. A firm's cost of capital or discount rate does not remain constant. It changes directly with the firm's risk. Thus, the present value of the firm's income moves inversely with the cost of capital. By assuming that the discounting rate is constant, Walter model abstracts from the effect of risk on the value of the firm. Now we discuss Gordon model. According to Professor Myron Gordon, developed a very popular model explicitly relating the market value of the firm to dividend policy. The main proposition of this model is that the value of a share reflects the value of the future dividends accruing to the share. Hence, the dividend payment and its growth are relevant in valuation of shares. If we talk about the assumption, so the firm is an all equity firm and it has no debt, no external financing is available. Consequently, retained earnings would be used to finance any expansion. Thus, just as Walter model, Gordon model too confounded dividend and investment policies. Constant return, the rate of return is constant. Cost of capital is also constant. Perpetual earning. Corporate tax do not exist in this case, and the retention ratio once decided upon is constant. Thus, the growth rate VR is also constant. It is revealed that under Gordon model is also the market value of the share P0 increases with the retention ratio V for the firm's growth opportunity when R is greater than K. The market value of the share P0 increases with the payout ratio 1 minus V for declining firms with R less than K. The market value of share is not affected by dividend policy when R equal to K. If we talk about the criticism of Gordon model, as the assumption of Walter model and Gordon model are same, so the Gordon model suffers from the same limitation as the Walter model. Thank you all of you. Listen carefully. Thank you once again.